The Art of Unclogging, how I discovered a deeper approach to decluttering. I believe we all possibly have areas in our home that don't support our mental health or spirit. Whether you're a homeowner or a professional cleaner who has clients where things are a bit of a muddle, then this principle, unclogging, is for you. I was once contacted by a busy mother of 3 who asked me to clean her elderly mother's home. I welcomed the opportunity, eager to help, but when I arrived, I was in for a shock. Every surface in the kitchen was piled high with things. There was no space for anything, and it seemed like nothing had a proper home. When I stepped into her office, I was met with towering stacks of paperwork, some even taller than me. The space was so crowded that I could barely move around. I stood there feeling completely overwhelmed. Where was I supposed to begin? Have you ever had that feeling? Maybe when you open a cluttered kitchen drawer or glance at an overflowing wardrobe or the sock drawer or the holder filled with knickknacks. That sense of not knowing where to start can be paralysing. I asked my client where in the house she would want me to begin and should I ask permission to let go of things. She agreed, so we began, but as we worked through the items I noticed a pattern. Every single object had a reason to stay. She had a story, a justification, a memory attached to each item, each piece of paperwork, each envelope. Her background gave me a clue as to why. In her younger years, she had been a psychologist. As we sorted through her office, we came across patients' files from over 30 years ago. She insisted on keeping them just in case a former patient might ever reach out. At this rate, it would take years to unclog the office alone. I remember sitting down, looking around the crowded office and feeling really stuck. I then had a very simple but profound eureka moment. It then hit me. Everything in that room was energy. Every object, file and piece of paper carried energy, and I realised something very helpful. Energy can be positive or negative. This way of seeing things bypassed the endless justifications we often create for keeping things. I decided to ask a different question. Does this file bring you positive energy? Her response was immediately no. She said softly, "That was a difficult case. I don't need to hold on to that memory anymore." That shift in perspective changed everything suddenly. We were able to move through the clutter with clarity. She was ready to let go of what no longer served her and only keep what brought her joy or had true value, use in her present life. So the next thing is all about sorting with purpose. As we sorted, we created different categories. Charity, these are items that could bless others. Sale, valuables that she no longer needed but could create extra income. Recycling, things that could be repurposed or reused. And rubbish, items that have outlived their usefulness. As a bonus, during this process, we uncovered beautiful family photos that had been buried under the clutter. We took the time to create albums filled with cherished memories for her to share with her grandchildren. By the end, she was finally able to sit at her desk, read and write letters in a space that felt light, calm and inspiring. She was truly liberated. Now, for the things she wasn't ready to let go of, there were still a few items my client wasn't quite ready to part with, and that's okay. We boxed them up and stored them in the garage with a plan. If after 6 months she hadn't bought them out or missed those items, she would allow them to be removed. This experience taught me that unclogging is more than just decluttering. It's about clearing emotional and mental blockages to create space for positive energy and peace. When we reframe this process and ask whether something brings us positive or negative energy, the answers often become clearer, allowing us to create a space that reflects who we are today. When working with clients, I often notice that if a home is taking longer to clean than it should, the real issue isn't normally just the dirt, it tends to be excess clutter. Clutter slows down the cleaning process because it fills the space with unnecessary items, making it harder to maintain an order and efficiency. But addressing clutter can be sensitive. It's not just about the things, it's about the emotions and memories attached to things. Conversations about decluttering can sometimes trigger feelings of anxiety, fear, or even anger. That's why I always advocate approaching these discussions with compassion and sensitivity. If these negative emotions come to the surface, do not take them personally. You are there to provide space for them to change. Creating a safe, judgment-free space allows clients to open up and feel empowered to make decisions that align with their goals and having a happy home. Because this is sensitive, it's always best to try this process on yourself first. I always suggest practicing this method in your own home. This personal experience helps you build the confidence, understand and being able to be empathetic with your client in order to guide her through or him through the process. Now, let me share my personal unclogging technique. I like to think of it as using an imaginary full body scanner, but on a room in your home. Like the one used at the airport, I walk around the room with my scanner and I sense when something gives me that negative beep in my mind or heart. I know it's something I need to reconsider. This can be anything from a piece of furniture, an ornament, a photo, a cushion, or even curtains. The key is to be brutally honest with yourself and recognise the subtle emotional signals each item gives you. If you are unsure it goes down as a negative, the more ruthless you can be with yourself, the better. Now, I thought it would be helpful to give you some guidance on questions to ask when unclogging. Does this item bring me a positive feeling? Does this item lift my spirits or does it weigh me down? Does it look great? Do I love the colour, the shape? Do I need it? Am I holding on to multiples of the same thing? In other words, do I really need 5 garlic peelers? Would my life be worse off without it? Would I truly miss this item if it were gone? Now, let's move on to the power of unclogging. Unclogging isn't just about cleaning space, it's about shifting the energy in your home. As you let go of things that no longer serve you, you create more space, peace, clarity, and positivity. Why do I say start with your own home? By using your own home as a case study, you gain valuable insight into the emotional aspects of unclogging. This first-hand experience makes it easier to relate to your client's struggles and offer genuine practical guidance. When you've felt the transformative effects of unclogged space yourself, you can confidently help others achieve the same results. Remember, unclogging is not just about removing objects, it's about creating a space that supports your life you want to live. While unclogging items, look at ways to group items together. Look at grouping them. Examples of grouping: rather than having multiple pens around the whole house, have a beautiful container and put them in the office. Maybe you have throws around the house, beautiful blankets. Why not have a lovely basket to roll them up nicely into in the living room? Are there lots of muddled up socks in all bedrooms and utility? Bring them all together, match them up where possible and separate out into appropriate drawers in each bedroom. Let go of the odd ones.